Hey beautiful people, welcome back to another Heart to Heart. I hope you guys have all been doing well. So if you know that this is Heart to Heart with Harriet, where I talk about all things health, healing and well-being. And today's topic I'm going to be talking to you guys about is another topic that was also requested by one of our lovely viewers. One of our lovely viewers wanted me to talk about looking after your soul, body and mind, and like really the importance of doing that, because obviously that's all we have, right? This body of ours is all we have. If we don't look after it, if we don't take care of it, it will degrade, it will not be effective, and it will not achieve the things that it's supposed to achieve. So it's so important that we do look after it. All right, so I want to read you guys a verse first before I continue. 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 19 to 20, and it says, "Do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit who is in it, whom you have received from God? You are not your own. You were bought at a price. Therefore, honor God with your bodies." So really fundamentally understanding that our bodies are not our own. We were created by God. We were made for a specific purpose, and therefore we need to look after it. We need to honor it. We can't just put whatever we want to put in there. We can't just allow anything to just enter it whenever, because at the end of the day, there is a purpose and a plan for these bodies of ours. Therefore, we have to make sure that we look after them. Okay? So, the number one point that I want to make when it comes to, the importance of looking after your body, your soul, and your mind is, number one, seek first the kingdom. And that's the number one point that I'm going to really stress, because I think that if we know that our bodies were created by God, we didn't make our own bodies, right? If we believe that our bodies were created by God, there's only one person that can look after our bodies like it needs to be looked after. How can you, let's say for example, you buy a product, you buy a cupboard or a chair or whatever that you have to now put together. Often they have a manufacturer's manual, right? They have a blueprint, they have an instructions handout to actually tell you how you're supposed to put this thing together so that you can actually use it for the purpose that it's meant to be used for. Many times, not gonna lie, we always think, now we know what we're doing, we're gonna just, like we can just put it together. It's not that hard. It's easy, It's easy. We can put it together and it'll work out just fine. It'll be okay. But we soon realize that actually we need the manual, because a lot of the time when we fix the drawer, something is missing, it starts to fall apart, and we can't use it for the function that we actually intended to use it for, right? Therefore, we need to make sure that we are using the manual. Unless we know how we're supposed to function, unless we know how we're meant to actually work our bodies, how we're supposed to look after our bodies, we will never be able to look after it properly. Therefore, when I say seek first the kingdom, we're seeking the will of God for our lives. We're reading His Word, we're meditating, we're praying, we're spending time in His presence, because we want to know how He wants us to look after ourselves. Everything comes first from Him, All things were created through Him, and from Him are all things. So if you want to know how to actually look after yourself, how to be there for yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you need to ask God, I don't know how to look after myself. Sometimes we actually don't know how to look after ourselves, because the things that we allow into our bodies, the things that we allow to enter our minds, our hearts, they're not from us. And we need to understand, okay, how can I make sure that what I'm allowing into myself is from God and is useful and is beneficial for my well-being, okay? So that's the number one thing. Seek first the kingdom, seek God, and ask God, today, how can I make sure my day is productive? How can I make sure that I don't waste my day away? I make sure I get things done. I achieve the things that you are desiring for me to achieve today, that will lead me to my purpose, that will lead me to my destiny and what I want to do in life. All right, cool. So number two, create time for rest and rejuvenation. When it comes to your soul, your mind, and your body, it needs to have the rest, it needs to have the rejuvenation that is needed. I think that sometimes our lives can be so busy, our lives can be so packed with so many things that we need to get done, that we actually forget to create that time to rest, create that time to have in the presence of God, create the time to read the word, create the time to exercise, create the time to socialize, to do the things that our body needs to be able to, to be well, just well-being in general. I learned, obviously, because I work in the health field, I learned a long time ago that our bodies function well. Our bodies function well when we are able to look after each and every single area. So emotionally, physically, psychologically, socially, all these aspects, the determinants of health, all these aspects need to be tapped into, need to be basically poured into. So we can't neglect like our social life, fellowshipping. The Bible says, fellowship with your brethren, having that time to laugh, enjoy, have fun. We can't neglect our emotional life or our mentally. We need to feed our minds. We need to, like the word says, meditate on this word, meditate on the book daily. That's in Joshua. Meditate on this book. Keep this book of the law always on your lips. Meditate on it day and night so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will prosper and be successful. When it comes to our mind, are we meditating on the book? Are we meditating on the Bible? Are we understanding the concepts, the precepts that God has set out for us? Are we allowing God to lead us and guide us in the decisions that we decide to make for our life, So are we feeding our minds? Even like, are we reading books that are useful for us? Are we watching things that are useful for us? Or are we watching things that are not helpful at all, not leading to any benefit in any way? We're just watching for the sake of entertainment. And once we watch that thing, we knowing that we received absolutely nothing. It's so important that we think about what we are feeding ourselves, what we are watching, what we are allowing to enter our minds and our hearts. You know why? Because it will affect you. It will either torment you or prosper you. It will either, either be motivated, determined, or it will bring your spirit down. So really having that time, creating that time to rest and rejuvenate, to pour into yourself, fill your cup so that you can also fill others. The last point is actually very similar to the other first one technically, but it really was just talking about filling your mind to edify. So I want to read you guys the verse so I can just discuss it from the verse point of view. So Philippians chapter 4 verse 8, it says, "Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things." So each and every single one of those things, anything that is true, pure, noble, admirable, lovely, excellent, praiseworthy, think about such things. Our minds should always be on things that are noble, things that are praiseworthy, things that are excellent. We should always set our minds, because guys, a lot of things always start in our minds. The Bible says, if as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. If you think that you are prosperous, you are wealthy, you are well off, you're going to do great, you attract these things. You attract these things. But if you think that you are poor, you have nothing, you amount to nothing, you will also attract these things. So that's why it's so important that the things that we think about the things that we think about, making sure that the things that we are thinking about are noble, that they are praiseworthy, that they are great, that they are admirable, that they're things that we want to manifest, okay? They're things that we want to manifest. This is all a part of really just being able to look after your mind, look after your soul, and look after your body. We know that obviously with our bodies, like it's really a no-brainer. We all know about exercising. We all don't always do it, and I know that it's not easy as well. But really thinking about, okay, like, if I don't exercise, if I don't make sure, if I don't, put in the work to, if you're someone that gyms or go for runs or just go for walks, if I don't put in the work to look after this body of mine, let me not expect, for it to be healthy. Let me not expect for it to function in the way that it's supposed to function. There's an analogy that I read in one of the books that I read, I think it was by John Maxwell, and he said, a lot of the times we are so busy doing everything else in our world. We're so busy with our careers, with our families, with everything that's happening. And if we neglect our bodies, we can work so hard to achieve all the goals we want to achieve, to get all the things we want to get done in this world, to reach the goals, to become all that we want to become. But let's get to 50 and your body starts to deteriorate because you haven't looked after it. Our bodies start to deteriorate. They start to, lessen in function. And if we haven't looked after it, how are we ever going to enjoy all the things that we worked so hard for? Therefore, it's so important that we look after it. We take care of it. Do what you can do with the time that you have to look after your body. If it's just going for a walk with the kids at the park, that's enough. That's something, because that's allowing your body to experience, some form of exercise that's helpful for it. If it's just doing a workout at home or going for a regular run, there's so much you can do in that you can work around your family, work around your careers. Because I know we all have busy lives these days. Everyone's doing so much, but you still can't neglect the fact that you gotta look after yourself. You gotta look after your body. You gotta look after your soul, and you gotta look after your mind. So I know there are many, many other resources out there as well. Look into that, read into them.